Okay, so before we had skewness, let's have a coefficient of variation. Pag sinabi natin coefficient of variation, this is a way on how we can compare two or more standard deviations wherein the standard deviations has different units. Kasi kunwari, meron kang dalawang data na magkaiba yung units. Kunwari, this first data talks about weight and then the other one is about height. Hindi mo masasabi na kunwari ang standard deviation ng isa ay 2 cm dun sa height and then dun sa weight naman ang standard deviation niya is 1 kilogram for example. Hindi mo pwedeng ma-compare yun kung alin ang mas dispersed or mas deviated. So para mawala yung units, we will have to use the coefficient of variation to compare these two standard deviations. So for sample, what we just have to do is to divide the sample standard deviation with the sample mean and then multiply it with 100%. That will be the coefficient of variation for the sample. For population, it's actually very similar. Population standard deviation divided by the population mean. So whichever has a bigger coefficient of variation, meaning mas malaki yung kanyang dispersion. So the smaller the coefficient of variation, mas maliit naman yung kanyang pagka-disperse. So kunwari, I have two data that contains kunwari yung kanina, 2 cm yung height at saka yung mean naman niya ay kunwari 1 cm. Kunwari. So if you divide by 2 divided by 1, the standard deviation is 2 and then the mean is 1. So 2 divided by 1, it will be 2 or 200%, for example. So times 100% pa pala. So kung dun sa isa na meron tayong 1 kilogram and then yung standard deviation niya kunwari is 0.25 kilogram. So ang mangyayari doon, 1 divided by 0.25 magiging 4 times 100, so that would be 400%. So even if yung isa na mas maliit ang standard deviation, 1 kilogram lang, pero pag kinuha mo yung coefficient of variation, mas malaki ang kinalabasan, so ibig sabihin, mas disperse yung mas malaking coefficient of variation. Kasi yung isa 200% lang, yung isa 400%. So mas malaki yung magiging coefficient of variation ng isa. Okay, malinaw ba yan? Next. The Chebyshev theorem. The Chebyshev theorem, this one is for any observation. Pero bihira naman itong gamitin. Let's proceed with the empirical rule. This one is if we have a normal distribution curve. Pag normally distributed daw ang ating distribution, about 68% of the proportion will lie about 1 standard deviation from the mean. Kapag 2 standard deviation from the mean naman is around 95%, and then 99.7% of the area will be within 3 standard deviation from the mean. Ang ibig sabihin nito, kapag kinuha natin yung proportion ng ating distribution, all we have to do is to follow this empirical rule, provided that your distribution has a normal distribution curve. Okay? So para malaman mo kung ilan ang kailangan mong kunin, kunwari within 1 standard deviation lang siya, that's just around 68% of the area. So you use 1 standard deviation from the mean. So kapag 95, we just use 2 standard deviation from the mean, and then 3 standard deviation from the mean, we have 99.7% of the area. Okay, so parang ganito siya. So if you look at this graph, pag sinabi kasi nating normally distributed, it follows this bell-shaped curve. Na kapag kinuha natin yung area within 1 standard deviation, ito yung mean kasi, this, yung gitna yung mean, 1 standard deviation, this area daw will be around 68%. And then ito naman, if you have 2 standard deviation from the mean, that's around 95%, and then around 99% naman kapag 3 standard deviation from the mean. Okay, now let's proceed with skewness. Before we had skewness, nagkaroon tayong discussion on that the median is actually better if your distribution is skewed. So dito na natin makikita kung skewed to the left, skewed to the right, or we have a symmetric skewness. So the coefficient of skewness that we will be using will actually measure the general shape of the distribution. Okay, so nire-relate niya kasi later on makikita nyo that yung coefficient of skewness na i-compute natin will just be the difference between the mean and the median over the standard deviation. So this is what I'm saying. So the coefficient of skewness, or Pearson's coefficient of skewness, or simply SK, can be computed using this formula, which is 3 multiplied to the difference of the mean minus the median over the standard deviation. So dapat marunong tayo kumuha ng mean at saka median at sa standard deviation before we can get your skewness. Okay, so remember that formula. Okay, so symmetrical distribution, this one is if your coefficient of skewness is around 0, so or malapit sa 0. Kapag positively skewed or skewed to the right, ang tawag doon, the skewness is positive. And then if it's negative, we call it negatively skewed or skewed to the left. Okay, so ganito itsura niya. So notice, yung negative skewness, yung mean natin mas maliit sa median. Di ba, kapag tinignan natin dito sa negatively skewed, yung median natin mas malaki compared sa mean. Kapag ang normal skewness, notice the mean and the median is the same. So notice the difference will be 0. So magsisiro yung skewness. At ito naman, magiging positive kapag yung mean natin ay mas malaki or mas malaki yung value ng mean sa median. So positive ang kakalabasan ng ating skewness. So ganito magiging itsura ng ating graph. Mas madami yung maliliit. Ito naman, mas madami yung malalaki. Okay? So, ito, kunwari, I have this. For example, this one. You already have, sorry. Let me share it again. Sorry guys, wala. Okay, so let me just share the screen again. Nag-close yung aking PowerPoint. Anyway, so for as an example, to find to solve for the skewness, again, kailangan lang natin makakuha nung ating mean, ng ating median, and then ng ating standard deviation. So, susundan lang natin yung formula na yon, and then ganun, makukuha na natin yung ating skewness. Okay, balikan natin yung example natin last time. Gamitin natin siya so that we can just use the values that we had and then get the and use these values para yun ang gamitin natin to compute for the skewness. Okay, ito yung example natin last time. So we were able to compute this. We have the mean to be 5.19 and then yung ating median na compute din natin last time to be 5.5. And then the variance, we were able to compute for that also. The variance. Okay, the variance is 7.23 and the standard deviation is 2.69. So, okay. So, recall yung ating nakuha mean kanina. Then yung nakuha nating mean kanina, that's around 5.19, right? Okay, let me write it down. And then yung ating median na nakuha kanina is 5.5. Okay, so to find for the skewness, ang kailangan lang natin is to follow the formula. Ano yung formula ng ating skewness? So 3 multiplied by, ano yung skewness natin? Anyone? Hello? Ano yung skewness natin? Ano yung skewness natin, guys? Hello? Ay, wala na naman akong kausap. Ano yung skewness natin? Hello? Ano yung skewness natin? Tandaan pa ba? Ayan. Ano ulit yun?
3 multiplied by mean minus median divided by S. Sample.
Okay, so mean muna. Mean minus the median. Tama? Okay. And then divided by, ano yung S? Ano ulit yung S? Yun yung standard deviation, right? So substitute na lang natin. So 3 times the mean, which is 5.19. Hirap magsulat ng ganito. And minus the median, which is 5.55. So notice, mas malaki yung ating median dito. So expect natin na negative yung kakalabasan. So negative yung ating skewness. And then the S is 2.69. Calculator na lang natin siya. Okay, so if we use calculator for this, mas mabilis-bilis tayo. So 5.19 minus 5.5 times 3 and then divided by 2.69. So that's around negative 0.35. So this one is negative 0.35. Okay, so hindi naman siya masyadong negative but still the skewness is negative. So we have a negative distribution here. Okay. Any question?
Wala po.
Malinaw po. Oh, so, ganun lang. So, yun ang pag-aralan niya, and then by next meeting, may klase tayo ng Monday, di ba? So, by Monday, magkakaroon tayo ng short quiz on discussion. Magkakaroon ako ng siguro, ganun pa rin, Google Form pa rin. I'll be uploading sa Google Classroom natin, siguro mga 30 to 1 hour quiz. Okay? On Monday. So, ready tayo ba? Malinaw po ba?
Opo.
Okay, sige. So, kung wala nang tanong, paki-on nga saglit yung camera. Ayan guys. Thank you. So, ingat kayo lagi. Kita-kits tayo sa Lunes, ha? Sige, bye.
Thank you, sir.